Hi, I'm Colton with Porsche Center Calgary, and I'm here today with another very exciting piece of inventory. This one is a 2020 Taycan 4S. So, as you may or may not be aware, the Taycan is an all new model for us this year for 2020, and most significantly, it is also all electric. So, it's a vehicle that we're really excited to finally have. Many years ago now, Porsche showed it first as the Mission E concept, and everybody got really excited because the car looked just amazing, and you know, they were touting some pretty outstanding performance figures, and now all this time later the car is finally here in the middle. It actually looks a lot like that concept, and all the performance numbers pretty much line up with what they were kind of initially shooting for back then. So it's really cool. We're again totally thrilled to finally have the car, and so far the customer reception is very much the same. Everybody who's driven the car is pretty wowed. It is, while it's, you know, a very different car for Porsche in that it's all electric, it still feels very much like a Porsche. They definitely took the philosophy of building a Porsche first and an electric car second. So it still, you know, has all the characteristics and qualities and things that people look for in a Porsche, just with kind of a different drivetrain. So let's talk about this guy in particular. So this one, as I mentioned, is the 4S. What that means is it makes horsepower about 482. When you're just kind of driving around day to day, you get 482 horsepower. But when you go into launch control, when you want to get that, you know, maximum performance start from the line, it actually bumps that up to 562 horsepower for the launch control. So really awesome performance at what is currently the base level. So I expect in the years to come we'll have just a regular Taycan without the S, and we'll probably have a GTS variant and all that stuff as well. Right now there's the 4S, which we have here, and then the Turbo and Turbo S above that. So yeah, hard to understand this as a base model, but technically for the moment anyway, that's what it is. Torque is about 480 foot-pounds, 479 to be exact, and the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time, according to Porsche, is 4 seconds, 4.0. Now Porsche famously tends to undervalue those acceleration times. I'm sure you'll see some other magazines and stuff showing even a little bit quicker than that. So some pretty impressive performance. Now this one, starting with the outside, is Volcano gray metallic. Probably my favorite color. In fact, a lot of this car is kind of my favorite option. It's pretty close to how I would spec it personally. So Volcano gray metallic. The wheels, what do they call these ones? These are the 21-inch exclusive design wheel, and then so you select that wheel, and the standard finish is just for the whole thing to be silver. We painted this one in the gloss black, so most of it's black still with that kind of silver element through. I think they look awesome on the car. Some other stuff outside, the black trim surrounding the windows. We'll switch it out on most cars. People tend to prefer that. The standard is a silver trim, so occasionally we might have those in stock, but most of them are going to be the black. And I think that pretty well sums up the outside. Oh, I'm sure you can see the sensor up front there for the adaptive cruise control. So on pretty much all of our cars now, we're seeing most of our clients really want that. So most of the cars that we bring in for inventory will have it. But even more so in the electric car world, you know, people tend to be looking for a little bit more driver aids. Even from us, you know, historically, we haven't sold as many driver aids as some other brands because we are, you know, a driver's car first. But particularly on the electric ones, we're putting a couple more of those things in, like your adaptive cruise control. So let's move on then to the inside of the car. My favorite interior here as well. This is the two-tone black and chalk full leather interior. So that means everything in there basically is leather. Your dashboard is fully leather wrapped, so are your doors. Of course, your seats, also the center console, all that has genuine smooth finish leather on it. And I mentioned the two-tone black and chalk. So your dashboard is black, the upper part of the doors are black, your carpets, all that, but the seats and the under part of the dash is chalk, which is kind of like an off-white color. Really brightens up the cabin and just gives it a really cool look. You know, the beige alternative, right? Most of our two-tone interiors with black and beige, and that's fine. But to me, the black and chalk has a little bit of a younger, sportier feel to it than the beige, but still accomplishes that goal of kind of brightening up the cabin, so it's not all just the same and black like most of our stuff is. As nice as that is, black's always good. You can't really go wrong. The black and chalk to me is just a little bit more interesting. And then other content inside. So we put in the, let's see here, I don't want to miss anything, the Premium Plus package. So that's going to give you a whole bunch of stuff, starting with the panoramic glass roof. So in these cars, it works a little bit different than it does in the rest of ours. basically what you have is just a full glass roof, so there's no kind of partition in the middle like there is with some of them. However, when you get that, that means usually that front half opens up. With the Taycans, that it doesn't actually open. It's always fixed, but it's always glass as well. There's not a cover, but you have several different layers of glass, so you don't have you've got a lot of UV protection, I guess is what I'm getting at, so you don't get too much sun baking the top of your head or anything. It's a really cool solution, to kind of a different approach to the rest of our cars, and it makes the cabin feel really airy and kind of just unique. Other stuff, so panoramic roof, this particular one has the 18-way seat, so with that package you can option the 14 or the 18-way. The 18 is of course the most adjustable, but also the most bolstered. It wraps around you a little bit more than the 14-way, and then that bolstering is adaptive on the 18-way. The front seats will be ventilated as part of that package as well. They're heated already as standard, and then we also, sorry, it's not actually in the Premium Plus, but we did also add the rear heated seat to this specific example. But other stuff in that package, the lane change assist, which is your blind spot warning, that you get as part of the package. You get the Matrix LED headlight, so I think they look phenomenal on the Taycan. That's some of the best. One of my favorite styling cues, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at, is the new headlight design. It's still Porsche, but not quite. They did a great job, in my opinion, of designing this car to make it look instantly like a Porsche, but also very different and futuristic at the same time. And I think the headlights did a lot of that work for them. So you get the Matrix LED headlights. You also get the Bose audio system. You get the surround view camera. So you have cameras underneath each side mirror, as well as one on the front and the rear of the car. And this is the first model that we have that also allows you, when you're in that surround view camera, to kind of seemingly take a step outside the vehicle, and when you touch the screen, it looks like you're now looking at the car from the outside, and you can actually kind of spin the car around and really see all the objects around you. So it's a little bit different. It takes some getting used to. Even the standard surround view camera does, if you haven't used it before, and this is just one step further. But much like the kind of the first version of that system, once you learn to trust it and understand how the system works, it works phenomenally well. It makes parking the car and pulling in and out of tight spaces much easier. Also in that package, I think that's everything in the package. So I mentioned the rear heated seats, the advanced climate control 4-way, as they call it. What that does is in the rear, kind of on the back of the center console, you have a little screen, a little touch screen now on these cars. So without that, you still have vents back there, air is still getting back, but with the advanced 4-zone climate, you have a touch screen, and you can have independent climate zones for your rear passengers. And then another subtle touch is the crests we put in the headrest, the embossed crest. Subtle touch that I always like to put in the cars. And then we did the onboard charger. So what that will do, the onboard DC charger, so right now I think we have one charging station in the city that is the DC direct current charger. That's the one that's capable of the fastest charging. Porsche has put out numbers like 20 minutes-ish to get from a 0 to 80% charge. So in order to get that maximum kind of charge time, you need to add that onboard charger. It'll still work without it, it just won't be quite as fast. So we did option that to this car. As I said, right now there's only, I think, one place that actually has it, but as the years go by, there will be more and more. In fact, in about a year, we'll have one at the dealership here as well. And then another thing that's I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it that we put in this car is the electric sport sound. So of course, sport exhaust has been an option in our cars for a long time and quite popular on the sports cars. Gives you the option to press that button and opens the baffles in the exhaust and just makes it sound a little bit more emotive and aggressive. Of course, this being fully electric, you don't have that option. There's no exhaust sound. So what they've done is given you that electric sport sound option. And so what they, I guess, have done to do that is they have the natural sounds that the battery and all that system makes, and they've kind of amplified them, so it's not entirely artificial, but it's not entirely an organic sound either. So some car reviewers and journalists have said that you get Jetsons noises. I don't think that's far off. You get kind of buzzing and whirring, and it sounds strange when you haven't experienced it, but I encourage you to come down and drive one and experience it, because it's a very unique and kind of futuristic sound, but definitely does dial up the emotion a little bit, sorry, it does dial up the emotion a little bit in the experience, similar to what you get with our gas cars, more so than I actually would have thought before trying it out. And then finally, the last thing we added was the 25-foot charging cable. So that's a $0 option when you're getting it from factory. If you decided to get a longer cable after, you can from the parts department. It's just going to cost you a whole lot more. So we're optioning most of the ones that we're going to have in as stock to just have the longer cable to give you that flexibility. And that pretty well sums up this one. So a really cool example, and one of our first in stock actually that hasn't been sold before it's arrived. So this guy's here and available for quick possession, which is, yeah, pretty cool. And we do also have a demo in the 4S variant. So if you think you're interested in this one, please do give us a call or pay us a visit. We can take you for a spin in that car. And when we're done here, this guy will be up in the showroom, so you can kind of get hands on this one and check it out in a little bit more depth. Thanks so much for watching.